So far away 나에게로 금이 있다면 날아가는 금이 있다면 Don't fall away 나에게도 금이 있다면 날아가는 금이 있다면 Dream and hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Back to Live podcast version. This time, anyway, so this time it's not so important to start with. I don't think I can't find any importance in this episode, and maybe I should tell you this is about my country, which is why. So if you don't live in or if you have no interest in Asian countries, including my country, so you don't have to listen to this episode, or you can stop this episode right now. And by the way, so I'm Richard Gon of Back to Live podcast version. And this time, so before actually telling you, anyway, so before actually telling you the title and the conclusion of this episode, I'd like to drink a booze. Well, I'd like to drink a can of booze, which is why I'm going to open this can of alcoholic drink. And this is a manner of Mr. Hiroki Nishimura, who is really a famous Japanese entrepreneur. And I have so recently I adopt him. Or I sometimes I adopt his manner of creating videos of YouTube. Which means he frequently create videos. Essentially, he doesn't create videos. He doesn't create videos for uploading them into YouTube. But actually, so sometimes he creates videos which are maybe live videos, and he uploads them into YouTube, and while he is creating those videos, he drink alcoholic drinks, and I adopt, which means so or I have adopted that manner he's using for creating videos. Which is anyway. This is a description of this manner of creating this episode, or creating episodes of podcast, which means in my case I created episodes for a podcast, drinking alcoholic drinks, and cheers anyway. This time what I'm going to drink is dry and strong sour, which is the name of this drink. So if you live in this region, so you may find where I am when creating this episode. So I'm away from my own residence, which is why. So you may have some idea about where I stay. And anyway, so how should I say Sekoma? Does this read Sekoma strong sour dry? Whenever I speak, it's fine to open this can. This time, so there's a crash of there's a crash of there's a crash of or there's a fall of helicopter which happened in my country, or the helicopter is owned by the military force or the self-defense force of my country. And my country, so many, so according to, this is the official stance of my country, but which means this country is not supposed to have soldiers, or have military. This country is not supposed to have soldiers or troops, but actually this country has really strong self-defense force, which is not So, but actually, this country doesn't categorize this country doesn't categorize that self-defense force into their own soldiers or into their own troops or into their own so military organization. They find that self-defense force. There are another kind of groups, another kind of group different from so so soldiers or troops anyway, which is a stance or which is a claim of this country, or which is so not predilection, but actually anyway. So I don't have to tell you about this one anyway, but actually that self-defense force of this country owns some some fighter airplanes or some helicopters or some tanks or as weapons. Maybe I have no knowledge about the self-defense force of my country, but actually, so I mean, one of the helicopters owned by that self-defense force fell into the sea. Which, and I'm creating this episode in the end of April in 2023, and which means so maybe that news is famous not only in my country but also in China, because so and which is why so I created this episode, and there's an online information which is written in Chinese, and I don't read Chinese well, but actually so I found I can read some Chinese documents, and this time I'd like to introduce an online document, and I don't tell you the actual content of that online news. And to start with, I can't tell you I can't read all of them, but actually, so I should tell you the title of this article I recently found, and 日本网络出现些直升机被中国 Jun, I thought how Junjian, I think Junjian is how to read this. I think Junjian, Ji Luo, Chuang Yan, Li Fang Mei Sheng. I don't know how to read this anyway. So I'm going to tell you how to read in the full version anyway. Anyway, so what this says is that there's a rumor, there's a hearsay or what went around that so it was China, or it was a Chinese force which attacked and crashed, or which crashed the airplane, not the airplane, but the helicopter of my country. And but actually, so I think maybe most people have already known that the cause of that helicopter crash is an accident, meaning that. So anyway, there was an unfortunate accident, but actually, so so there are some people who thought that it was Chinese force which fell which failed that helicopter. But actually, the truth is that so there must have been some problems in the helicopter, which is why so that there was an accident by which the helicopter fell down onto the sea, and which is why so I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode in this part. And the title is A Drill of Kamikaze Attack, and the conclusion is, at least, my country should avoid war because it's too weak. And I mean, I made a tweet for about this helicopter crash, and which is这不是坠落，是日本自卫队的身身身份攻攻击。I thought how to read 攻击是正训练。Wait a moment, please. I don't know how to read this Chinese character. I thought how to read this. Anyway, this is fine. 攻击. I made a mistake, so I pronounced 攻击, but actually the correct pronunciation is 攻击, meaning that so what I said, well, the tweet has to be read that 这不是坠落，是日本自卫队的前方攻击是正训练 which I think is the correct manner of reading this Chinese tweet. And anyway, so my country is sort of famous for kamikaze attack, which was done in the time of the Second World War, and by which so my country didn't have bullets or other bombs or other types of bombs, or my country didn't have bombs, which is why so my country chose suicidal attacks against the military forces of America and Britain, and such suicidal attacks of my country had been called kamikaze attacks, and which is why so I made fun of this present crash of the helicopter by using these words kamikaze attack, and that is which is why anyway. So if you ask me whether I used a joking manner for calling this sad accident. So so the answer is yes. I made this tweet for making fun of or ridiculing this helicopter crash. But actually, so what I'd like to tell you in this episode is that so my country, in the case of my country, this country should avoid wars because it's the military force of this country is too weak or too fragile, and I think this is the case to other countries. Meaning for what I'd like you to know in this episode is that so recently. So the political situation is really how should I say? I thought how to call that situation treacherous, or so unexpected or unpredictable in dangerous ways or in lethal ways. So which is why so it's the situation of this entire world is treacherous, and there may be some dangerous events, like so there's a war, there is a coup d'etat in, or not there is that fighting is not a coup d'etat, but actually so there's a fighting, or there's a there's a no, I don't think there's a war. I don't think that fighting is a war, but actually, so there's there's a dangerous event which is taking place in Sudan, which is an African nation, and so many people are trying to live away from, or many people are trying to leave that country, or many people are trying to run away from Sudan. And my country is one. Well, the people of my country are those who are trying to get away from that African country, And anyway, so it's really that country is really, that country was a Sudan is really dangerous in this time. And but actually, in the case of in the case of the mainland China, so that country hasn't attacked. That country hasn't attacked Taiwan for or in this recent time. But actually, so that can maybe I should have said that the mainland China has not attacked or has not assaulted Taiwan Island yet, which means so the attack against the invasion into Taiwan done by which is to be done by the mainland China is imminent, which means the invasion is imminent. Which is why, so if for example, if you live in my country, so you should leave or you should run away from this country. For example, that is running away from my country is one of the measures against the invasion, which can be done by the mainland China against or into Taiwan region or Taiwan Island. And my country can be invaded by the mainland China, but actually the possibility of such invasion is not so huge, I think. But maybe I should say I hope, but actually, it's up to the decision of the governors or the leaders of the mainland China. And but actually, so as for this crash or as for this falling, or as for this accident of Japanese helicopter, I think that is an accident. But actually, so it's like that. So I don't know how many fighter aircrafts this country have, but actually, some of those fighter aircrafts may fall into the sea before reaching or before attacking the mainland China. So which can be possible. So which is why so maybe China have really excellent fighter airplanes, but by using which the mainland China may possible to bombard or conquer this country or some parts of the United States of America if possible. But actually, so in the case of this country, so this country used to have high technologies or high technologies, but actually, so recently this country is not doing well. So which is why so if this country fights against the mainland China, this country is going to lose. So which is a situation of this country. So which is why so this country should avoid wars against the mainland China at all costs. Which is what I'd like you to know. And another stuff I'd like you to know is that I think that's the case of your country in most cases. And if you live in the mainland China or if you live in the United States of America, this is not my country. Is the situation of this country is not the case to your country, I think. So if you live in the United States of America, so your country may be possible to beat mainland China, but actually, so if you live in, for example, if you live in, for example, France, or if you live in Spain, or if you live in Germany, I don't know. Germany may have really strong weapons, but actually, in the case of other European countries, maybe your country may lose against the mainland China in the situation of wars or in the situations of military conflicts against China. So which is why if you live in such European countries, your country it can be possible to say that your country should avoid any types of fightings against the mainland China at all costs. So which is that another stuff I'd like you to know this time. So before actually ending this episode, I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. Wait a moment, please. So the title is A Drill of Kamikaze Attack, and the conclusion is at least my country should avoid wars because it's too weak. So the weak is not once a week or twice a week, but weak is the antonym again. The weak is the antonym of strong. And actually, so it's going to investigate how to read this right now. So wait a moment, please. So I think it's possible to investigate. Yeah. So this is Junjian, and another stuff I couldn't read was. So I don't know. Anyway, so wait a moment, please. And at last, I'm going to tell you how to read the title of the Chinese news I found out I found out, and the title is so 日本网络出现失窃直升机是别中国军舰击落船员，对防卫上辟谣。And the meaning is that there's a so in the Japanese online world, so the emerged that so the helicopter was lost due to the attack of Chinese force, and which is rumor, or which is accounted of a rumor, and Japanese self-defense force, or Japanese Ministry of Defense Force is trying to so disappear, or it's trying to squash that rumor. Which is the meaning of the title of this Chinese article. And I'm thinking of ending this episode, and I have told you the title and the conclusion of this episode. So that's it. Thank you very much for everything. See you. 再见. And so at last, so in the beginning of this episode, I sang a song, and which is the chorus part of a song sang by one of the members of BTS, and the name of that song is So Far Away. But actually, so in the lyrics of that song, there's a part which is So Far Away, 나이를 날아가는 나이를 날아가는 Don't fall away, 나이를 날아가는 dream. So there's a lyrics which is don't fall away, but actually, so there's a helicopter which fell away, so which fell into the sea, which is why, so I sang that chorus, the chorus part of that song.